Hello everyone, welcome to Diagnose It. So today we have a case from pediatrics department, and here is a premature infant presented with complaints of diarrhea and blood in stools with the abdominal distension and the specific radiograph that is given in front of you. So this is all we have about this case. Now let's try to make a diagnosis. With these kind of symptoms of diarrhea with blood in stools and abdominal distension, we can think about a list of differential diagnoses, including malrotation, volvulus, gastroenteritis, dysentery, sepsis, intussusception, and the more important one is necrotizing enterocolitis in a child. But with this radiograph, this specific radiograph, you can clearly make the diagnosis of necrotizing enterocolitis. Before coming to the findings of the X-ray abdomen given here, firstly let's discuss some things about necrotizing enterocolitis. What is a necrotizing enterocolitis? What happens is due to the bacterial invasion, inflammation of the intestinal wall occurs. That leads to cellular damage as well as death. That further leads to necrosis of intestinal wall. This includes both small as well as large intestine. After the necrosis, perforation of the intestine occurs that leads to the gas as well as the content of bowel inside the peritoneum, which causes the occurrence of peritonitis, which leads to the bacterial invasion in the bloodstream, leading to sepsis, then multi-organ dysfunction, and then may lead to death of the patient. So this is the sequence of events that occur in a child of necrotizing enterocolitis. After that, let's discuss what are the signs and symptoms by which a child with necrotizing enterocolitis can present to us. Basically, what happens is when the child is fed, and then after the feeding, the child developed abdominal distension and abdominal discomfort. After that, the intestinal peristalsis can be sometimes seen superficially over the abdomen also. Then after that, it may lead to the vomiting in the child. So these are some known specific signs by which a patient of necrotizing enterocolitis can present. The child can also develop diarrhea with blood in stool. And as the disease progresses, it may lead to the development of sepsis, circulatory collapse, as well as respiratory failure may occur in a child. Now let's discuss why this disease is more common in a premature infant or is exclusively seen in premature infants. The main risk factor for development of this disease is the premature or the immature intestinal walls that leads to inflammation as well as bacterial invasion of the walls. The other risk factor for it include the prematurity with low birth weight and formula feeding that also damages the intestinal walls. This disease is quite exclusively seen in premature child, but whenever this disease is seen in a full-term infant, then we should rule out other hypoxic conditions like cyanotic congenital heart disease. Because this cyanotic congenital heart disease leads to hypoxia, then ischemia of the intestinal wall that also damages the walls, which also makes the child prone for development of necrotizing enterocolitis. This is the sequence of events that occur in a child, like bacterial invasion, then inflammation. After that, when the child reaches to a stage of perforation, then perforation can be microperforation as well as a macroperforation. A microperforation leads to the occurrence of air in the intestinal wall only. The air in the intestinal wall is also known as pneumatosis intestinalis, and a macroperforation leads to the spillage of content of the bowel inside the peritoneal cavity that leads to the development of peritonitis. So how we diagnose this case? The only investigation that we need to diagnose this case is a plain X-ray abdomen. As you can see here in front of you, the X-ray abdomen shows the dilated bowel loops. As you can see, these bowel loops are clearly seen dilated. You can see the bowel loops are clearly dilated. The other thing that we can see is presence of pneumatosis intestinalis that you can see here. Here you can see the presence of gas between the two layers of intestinal wall. This is the pneumatosis intestinalis. The other thing that you can see is the presence of gas inside the portal vein. You can see here clearly that this is the place where portal vein is present, and you can see this black color in the abdomen shows the presence of gas, and this black color here at the place where the portal vein should be present indicates the presence of gas inside the portal vein. Next thing is we can see the presence of gas, free gas inside the peritoneum. You can see clearly the gas shadows in the periphery. You can see the gas is present in the periphery. This is free gas in the abdomen. Next thing we can do is the blood investigation. In investigation, after the development of sepsis, we can see the leukopenia with increase in ESR as well as CRP. Next, we come to the treatment of this case. The basic treatment is the standard resuscitation protocol of ABC. Firstly, we maintain the airway, breathing and circulation of the child. Due to the development of sepsis and multi-organ dysfunction, the child can develop a quite severe kind of respiratory distress, and for that we need to do an endotracheal intubation followed by a mechanical ventilation. For due to the sepsis, the child can also develop circulatory collapse, and for that we need to do the fluid management of the child. For the specific management of necrotizing enterocolitis, we have to stop all the enteral feeding to give the bowel rest and make the child nil per oral. After that, we need to do the decompression of the bowel by putting a nasogastric tube. And subsequently, the child should be started on the total parenteral nutrition and IV antibiotics in form of a broad spectrum, like for the gram-positive bacteria, ampicillin, and for gram-negative bacteria, clindamycin as well as metronidazole should be used. After some days to weeks, it may take some weeks even to recover. The child recovery can be noted by the normal bowel movements. But in severe cases, if the child do not recover and the child develop the intestinal perforation, the peritonitis, then the child may need surgical intervention also. The surgical intervention includes the laparotomy. After laparotomy, what we can do is we can remove the necrotic bowel as well as repair the perforated segment. But if the perforation is seen, the primary repair is not done, and what we do is we make a stoma, because the primary primary repair, if we do, the intestinal wall is quite necrotic and it will not hold the sutures. So what we do is we prepare a stoma, and after the child recovers, we again reverse the stoma. One thing that we should do during the removal of necrotic bowel, that we should usually spare the ileocecal wall as much as possible, because of the development of small intestinal bacterial overgrowth as well as the reflux of the colonic flora of the bacteria inside the small intestine in the future. And if the child is small and quite premature and we cannot do surgery in the child, then we can put peritoneal drain. This can be done under local anesthesia also. And the interesting things are the recent treatment modalities. These include the probiotics that can be used, the nitric oxide production inhibitors, and the carbon monoxide. These things are currently under trial phase for the treatment of this necrotizing enterocolitis. So this is all about necrotizing enterocolitis. If you have any question regarding this disease, you can put it under the comment section and I'll try to answer it. So this is all about necrotizing enterocolitis. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share my channel. Thank you.